Isn't it wonderful when somebody wants to hold your hand? Somebody wants to hold your hand and you want to hold their hand, and it's all so great and fine. And then you find somebody that you want to hold their hand and they don't want to hold your hand. Or maybe they want to hold your hand for a while and then they want to hold somebody else's hand. It can all get just a little complicated pretty quickly with this whole hand-holding thing. And I thought I better start off with a disclaimer. Because a few weeks ago, when I realized I was going to be asked to speak today on this topic, I realized that it was pretty ironic. Because I've had some really, really wonderful relationships in my life, and I have had some spectacularly bad relationships in my life. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, and we agree that we're here to learn together. Because I know that in my life that I've had some times when things in relationships just haven't worked out very well. And it was interesting. I was thinking about that scene from the movie Jerry Maguire. Most of you may know it. Tom Cruise is Jerry Maguire, this sports agent. And there's this woman named Dorothy that they fall in love. She's played by Renee Zellweger. And they fall in love and they get married. And of course, it's a romantic comedy, so weird things happen. And they break up, they have an argument, and they go apart. And Renee is at her sister's house. And her sister is having a meeting of a group of divorced women. A therapy session. And Renee is there at her sister's house, and Jerry is somewhere else, and he finally realizes what's important in life, and he gets on a plane, and he's running through the airport, and he gets in the cab, and he goes home, and he runs up to the sister's house, and he bursts into the door, and he finds this group of women sitting there, and he says, "Hello, has anybody seen my wife?" And on the other side of the room, there's Dorothy. And Tom looks at her and starts to speak and says, "Dorothy, life can be so tough. Dorothy, I love you. You complete me." And Dorothy from across the room looks at Jerry and puts up her hands and says, "Shut up, just shut up. You had me at hello." And they embrace. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't it intoxicating? Wouldn't we all love to have somebody who comes to us and say they love us, that we complete them? Really? Really? I know from my own experience, when I've come to a relationship feeling less than, that relationship becomes something that I need. Something that I'm looking for somebody else to complete me. And it usually doesn't turn out so well. In fact, Paul Hasselback, who is a dean at the school at Unity Village, he says, when you come to a relationship thinking a half plus a half equals a whole, what you usually find out is that a half times a half equals a fourth. And we get into that relation thinking that the other person is going to complete us and going to give us something that we don't have ourselves. And usually that is a recipe for disaster. There's a wonderful song that you might have heard that's come out recently. It's by a singer named Bruno Mars. And the song is entitled, "Just the Way You Are." And in the chorus, Bruno goes on and on about how he just loves this girl just the way she is. He wouldn't change a thing. Now, in each of the verses, Bruno goes on to describe why this girl is so perfect, just the way she is. She's got beautiful hair. She's got beautiful eyes. Face, he wouldn't change a thing about her face. Beautiful face, beautiful body. Everything about her is physically perfect. And then when she comes to him and she says, "Do I look okay?" Bruno gets an opportunity in the song to say, "Yes, you're beautiful." I swear to you, I'm not making these lyrics up. In this song, he spends 7 verses telling her how she is so physically attracted, and she has to ask him if she's okay, and he has to tell her that she is okay. He never talks about, is she intelligent? What actions has she done? What are her aspirations? What are her ambitions? Never. Isn't it amazing how we are bombarded by messages that in order to be lovable, that we have to physically look a certain way? And not only that, it's not enough just to be pretty or handsome. You got to have somebody else tell you that you look good in order to know that you are loved and to feel that feeling of loved. Everybody remember the first time you fell in love? That intoxicated feeling. And then the first time you fell out of love. That feeling of neediness and loneliness. And I know that I can really relate to that ache of feeling alone. And even when I was in relationships when I knew that I really shouldn't be there, I would stay longer than I should because of being afraid of feeling lonely. And even if whatever decision is made in any relationship, to stay or to go is always a tough call. But I know that it shouldn't be about thinking that you're something less than whole. That the most wonderful of relationships are when 2 people come together as 2 whole people and create something even more wonderful with each other. And that, I think, is the truth about who we are. So we're all here this morning. Let's make a pact that the first thing we're going to do is commit to ourselves to loving who we are. Right here, right now. Just imagine that thought, that I love who I am. Yeah, I've messed up in the past. Yeah, I've done some things. Yeah, I love myself. That it is because from that place of wholeness that we can really love somebody else. And so it might be appropriate to say, well, what is this love thing? And anybody who's been to a wedding in the last 30 years has probably heard 1 Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't envy, it doesn't boast, it's not proud, it's not rude, it is not easily angered. Love keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Love protects, trusts, hopes, and perseveres. So what if we were to think about this definition of love? Love protects, love trusts, love hopes, and love perseveres about how we feel about ourselves. That we would feel that sense of wholeness and completeness. And we would be able to give that feeling of love that every one of us wants to ourselves.